Hey everyone, welcome to a talk about sustainability, the future of business, and our planet. Welcome to Invincible Innovation Live Show. I'm so glad that you're here. I'm Mazor, Kario, product innovation and value creation expert, and I'll be your host. And today I have a very special guest, Troy. Hi, Troy.
Hi, good morning.
I'm so happy that you're here. Troy Carter is the CEO of Earthshot Labs, Planetary-Scale Ecological Regeneration. And it's going to be like a really interesting talk. I saw some of your stuff and it's going to be really interesting. We're live on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook, and you're so invited to join the discussion and ask questions. And now we can start. So, why do you think sustainability is so important for businesses?
Hmm. This is in a way like such a blatant, obvious statement. The sustainability of the human civilization has to be the case by definition. Otherwise, we don't continue on the planet. And I think that would be sort of a shame. And in the meantime, while the humans want to continue on the planet, turns out there's a whole lot of other species that we are living in symbiosis with that haven't done so well under modern capitalism. And so we need, like, at scale, as a civilization, we pay people to do shitty things to nature. And instead, we need to change incentive structures so that we are systemically in balance with the rest of nature. And unless we achieve that, and we achieve that soon, there are going to be more multiple systemic collapses in ecological systems that are going to be awful for businesses everywhere.
For
And I
people everywhere.
for people everywhere and also for all species everywhere. And so many of these collapses have already happened and most people haven't noticed. And suddenly we're starting to notice the effect, through extreme weather events, through sort of fires, droughts, floods. There was a recent report of Antarctica being, many, many degrees warmer than it ever has been this time of year. And these are just sort of the tips of the iceberg, if you will, for the coming decades, um, as human systems will be tested. So we're
Yeah.
trying to do something about that.
But what would you say if someone would tell you, like private sector businesses are not philanthropy? And this is the reason that we have like governments and non-profit organization. And like, why would businesses do that instead of like who's supposed to do that?
So we could blame this on the failure of government to act in time. And it's true that businesses right now probably have some of the highest leverage and most amounts of money and most reach to the number of people needed to address this problem at scale. And we're finally starting to see that. Just yesterday, I think the SEC released new standards for climate related declarations for businesses. So people suddenly, this is codified in the creation of a new business or an existing business where um, we will have to understand the climate and ecological impact of what we do. And um, in a way, I am a highly capitalist believing person where the the function of creativity to be expressed and invested into the future is awesome. And in another way, there has been a dramatic failure of doing the things that we know as a species we should be doing. And so, whatever, it's not an obligation, but it is a responsibility,
Yeah.
and probably should become an obligation through policy and common agreement. But if you are a business owner or you are a decision maker in a business, why not just make your company as sustainable as possible and be in right relationship with nature? In a way, it could be a dramatic cost, but that will pay off really greatly over time.
Because it will pay off for you as a person, for your kids, or you think that the consumers would think that
Yeah.
that's a better company to buy from? Or employees would
I
say
mean,
it's a better company to work for?
all of those. How does a company last, especially like a multi-generational organization? It lasts by people believing in what they do. It's not because, okay, we are adequately paying these people as functional units to perform their job. Like that is sort of where creativity ends, and then the company sort of slowly dies over time. But to continue to create these legacy organizations that continue to do something important and make a lot of money, they have to be doing something good. Otherwise, people just won't work for them. And I think we're seeing that more and more now. And why companies like Earthshot Labs can attract such high quality talent um, is because our fundamental mission is something that's in alignment with people's purpose in this time.
So tell us more about what you're doing in Earthshot Labs.
Yes. So Earthshot is a mission. It's a company founded to restore ecological balance on the planet. And we're doing this in a few ways. The first is science. So in order to incentivize landowners, land stewards, governments, investors to make different decisions about land, we have to pay them differently. And in order to pay people differently, we have to be able to understand the impact of different actions on land. So what happens when you remove cattle from forests? What happens if you don't cut down trees or if you plant new trees? All sorts of different ecological interventions, and be able to predict what happens in the future to financially de-risk investments and policies now. And so the first step one is science and measurement, and we formed a big open source community around this, and also have a science team doing really advanced predictive modeling. So what does the future of the planet actually look like? The second step is product. So we're building a product called LandOS, and LandOS is an operating system for land management, for conservation, for reforestation. Basically, the easiest way for a land steward anywhere on Earth to get paid for doing something good with their land. So by protecting forests, by replanting new forests, or by doing regenerative land practices. And the third is we're also scaling up operations. So in numerous countries around the world, we have our own reforestation and land conservation operations, which means we have people on the ground with nurseries, planting seeds, and building out the operational capacity to go change, landscape